welcome back to the ScrapMan channel. This is a bonus video coming today because of the new logic blocks and timer being introduced to the game. It's an exciting update and I want to share with you my first impressions and experiments so far. So here's what you can expect. I'm going to give you a quick intro on the blocks and then I'll show some of the more basic applications of how to combine them, and then we'll look at some fun visual effects they can be used for, and then we're going to end it with my favorite application in which I was able to improve the look of one of my precision flyers using the logic blocks in a way that they were probably not intended to be used. Also, at the end of the video, there's going to be a poll that I want you guys to participate in because I want your feedback regarding something that I'm thinking about doing for the future of this channel very soon. So, cast your vote there as well. Now, I am not a programmer by any means, and I have pretty much zero experience with logic gates before this game, so I am figuring everything out as a noob right now. But I've had some help with some friends, and I've managed to use what I've learned from them to come up with some pretty fun stuff that I want to show you. So first up, what's a logic gate? These are your 6 logic gates that we have. You can change them on the single block. I can just place one down, and then I can select one of these 6. Basically, 2 inputs go in, 1 input goes out, and any combination of those 2 inputs going in can give you a certain output. So, an AND gate, if both and only both of the switches are active, the output is active. An OR gate, if one or both of the switches is active, the output is active. An XOR gate, if one and only one of the switches are active, then the output is active. And then the reverse, the inverted of all 3 of those as well. And second, there is also a timer. The timer, basically, you hit a switch. This timer delays the action of that switch for anywhere from 0.25 up to 1 minute. Okay, so now that I've shown you what they do, let's see how do they work. One of the more basic uses that you'll probably see is the two-way door. So I've gone ahead and put this logic gate up here as a little lantern, because the cool thing about the logic gates is when they get activated, they light up. And there's a lot of great stuff you can do with this that I've been having a lot of fun with. So this is just an XOR gate, which means that if one and only one of the switches are active, then the gate is on. So that means if I come in and I hit the other switch, meaning making both of them active, the switch turns off, or the gate turns off, meaning the door will close. So then no matter what, whenever you press the switch, from no matter what side you press it from, it's going to change the orientation of the door to whatever degrees you set it to. Now, let's take a look at the timer. So a timer, basically, if you want an action to occur after you hit the switch on a delayed response, then you use the timer. One of the applications I can see is if you want 2 different things to happen at 2 different times, and they have to happen one after another, but you only want one switch to control them. Let's go ahead and look at what's going to happen without the timer. If I just hook up the switch to both of these, what I want is for this L shape to open up, and then this circle this bar is going to move in a circle. Now the problem if I activate them at the same time is this. You can see that they collide with each other, so I can just go ahead and set the switch up to the timer. I set the timer for 4 seconds, and I'm going to set this timer up to that second red controller there. And it looks like this. You can see the timer filling up before it activates that second controller, and then there we go. But there is an issue. The timer also happens when you deactivate the switch. So now when I turn the switch off, this is going to start going, and then 4 seconds is going to happen before this thing stops, which means this happens. And it collides on the way back. So I was thinking about how can I use the gates in order to remedy this. And one of the ways is if I use an OR gate here, what I can do is I want the arm to come down after the timer finishes. If I'm right, it should. Yep, so now that opens it, and as soon as this activates, it's going to activate that. So now in OR, if one or both of the switches are active, then that is on. The timer will turn off, and now the arm comes down. So that was one way to remedy it, but the problem still is, what if you want this timer activated rotation here to not deactivate after 4 seconds. What if you wanted to activate after 4 seconds but deactivate immediately? Because it's annoying. It might be annoying to hit the switch and then this thing has to wait another 4 seconds to deactivate. That's where this next one comes into play. So now this is only going to be active if both the switch and the timer are on. Yep, so now it opens up. The timer activates it. And then as soon as I press the switch, it stops and deactivates at the same exact time. So that is kind of this is really, really basic. This is just the stuff I'm able to figure out from a completely new perspective. Okay, and we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna show you something I've done with the timers that was inspired by Eru the engineer. He illuminated to me that timers actually store memory while they are delaying the action. So your input during this delay will get recorded. So if I press the button once here, it's on a 2-second delay. And then 2 seconds later, it will make the horn do its thing. Now, if I press the button twice, it actually records all of those puts, and all those inputs. And if I do a rhythm, you can see it will remember exactly the input that I put in, and it'll output it after the delay. So I've created a kind of looping machine here it'll output what you've put in to this, it'll remember it, and it'll loop it over and over again. And the fun thing is, I've made it so that you can actually add to it without erasing what you've previously done. So it'll keep layering and layering whatever you put into it, and there's an on and off switch to it as well. So we go ahead and activate it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just put one pulse into it. It's gonna store it, and now it's gonna loop it. Just like that. See, it keeps looping. Now, I have one beat going on. Now if I add some more, it's gonna put it in. And now you can see those 2 beats have been added to that one. And I can add more. And if I want to turn it off, I just turn this switch off and it'll stop. So that's one cool thing that I'm sure you can create huge kind of like looping machines that are way more complex than this that I would have no idea how to really program. But all right, what's next? So I was messing around with a friend of mine who goes by Louis J Gaming, and he managed to show me something pretty cool, which I have adapted into other uses that I am having so much fun with. So if you go ahead and set up an AND, NAND, and if you just loop this right here, it creates a blinking thing like this, so like a blinking cycle. And what you can do is actually change another one like that, and it increases the rate at which it blinks. So this can be used for a lot of things that I'm probably completely unaware of, but what I thought was pretty lights. So check it out over here, we have a dance floor. And you can see that when I've done this, over here, the ones on the right are blinking like a quick strobe, and the ones on the left have like a longer strobe, so they look like they're brighter. So I've actually used that to make the dance floor have a perimeter here. So I've assigned the ones that are longer to activate only the outside ones. If you look at my connections here, you can see the outside ones are all connected in a straight line around each other, whereas the inside ones are all connected to each other separately as well. And those start from the shorter blinking ones, and they all start from these corners right here that I painted. So yeah, you can create like cool little dance floor type things if you just have enough patience to hook everything up. Okay, so next up we're going to look at, this is something that I've been working on before the logic gates, and I managed to get it successfully because of a challenge I was trying to do, but unfortunately the FPS issues are not letting me complete the challenge. The FPS is too bad for me to continue. But say you're making a transformer and you want the transformer to transform through multiple stages. The problem with that is the stages are going to build up upon each other, meaning that when you transform it and then you transform it again, that second transformation relies on the positions of the previous transformation. So if you go from stage 1 to stage 3, you're probably going to screw up your transformation and nothing's going to work right. So a fail-safe, a foolproof way to get through that is if you can only go through the transformations in sequence. So that means no matter which switch you press, it doesn't matter. You're gonna go through 1, 2, and 3. So if I press switch 1, you can see stage 1 activates. If I press switch 2, you can see stage 2 activates. And if I press switch 3, you can see stage 3 activates. Now that's nothing special, but check this out. If I press switch 3, stage 1 activates. If I press switch 1, stage 2 activates. And if I press switch 2, stage 3 activates. So basically, this is a sequential ordering system in which no matter what order you press these things in, it's always going to go in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. This was what I came up with here, which is more complicated than it needs to be. So my friend Khan Gaming helped me condense this into a 3x4 block area like this that accomplishes the same exact thing. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and any order that you press them in, it's going to go ahead and do it in sequential order. All right, now, my favorite application yet. I have improved, using this light concept, I have improved one of my precision flyers. Now, you remember my precision flyer. Now, this is what it used to look like. Just like this. But now, I have made some upgrades, and now it looks like this. Well, this is one of the versions. This isn't the only version. This is the first version. This is the prototype experiment A. So I just think it's really cool with the little, it has like almost like little laser light things going on. Adds a new little flavor to it. So I'm gonna show you the one that I like better, because these aren't the only things you can create light shows with. The timers also work. And I've created a more customizable one over here. So this one, the lights go a little bit slower, but it's a wider beam, and they are programmable for how long you want the beam to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and land and show you how it can be adjusted. So underneath, I have the timer system here. So all I have to do is change the timer. Instead of having it at 0.3 seconds, I'm gonna change it to 0.25. And actually, I'm going to turn it off and reset it. So now, you can see it's going like 2x2s. Whereas before it was going like 5x5. Now I can have it much longer if I want. Let's just say I'll turn it off. I'm going to set it to 1 second. And turn it back on. And now you can see it's a much longer beam. So now I can change the way it looks. And that, I think, is a really cool concept. So I'm going to go ahead and change it. I think 0.3 was one of my preferred settings. So we'll change it back to 0.3. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Logic gates and timers being used for probably not what they were intended, but as a non-programmer, I just thought pretty lights, and I think this is going to be a cool visual application for a lot of them. And of course, there's going to be some really interesting complexity going on with some creations coming up in the future from the community. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I do want to give a shout out to my friend Brent Batch. Actually helped me start off getting used to these logic gates. He was guiding me around, telling me like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And that's what kind of got me started into exploring with these things. And I'm really excited about them. I hope you guys are too. Now for the poll. In my 5,000 sub video, I asked if you wanted to see other games on this channel, and I got an overwhelming yes. So I'm happy to say that starting next week, you're going to be getting more than one video a week thanks to the expansion of the channel to more content. And you will still be getting exactly the same amount of scrap mechanic content as well every Friday, so no worries if you thought that I was going to do less of that. Now, you all probably know that No Man's Sky is coming out for PC this weekend, and I'm pretty excited for it, and I really want to play it, but the question is, if I play it, do you want to see it? I like the idea of being able to expand my channel to a wider range of viewers. That'd probably help me grow a lot quicker, and I think this would be a great start into that, but I just wanted to gauge your reaction to see if you'd be supportive in my efforts to do that. So take the poll and let me know how you feel about it. I'm super excited for Friday's video. It's going to be a special one for you all, and I look forward to seeing your reactions. So stick around, and I'll see you next time on the Scrap Mechanics channel. Get face towards us? Nope. Maybe I was wrong. Oh, there we go. Whoa. Okay. Okay. That's creepy. That's creepy. Okay, let's go ahead and get out of this